very well when you try to go around what's obvious to everyone else. And what's obvious to everyone else is, or what should be obvious, let me put you this way, that you should never in any circumstance own people. That's never a good thing, whether a God does it, whether a human does it. And so the fact that a God condoned it.
Well, that notion of human rights has really come through the West in capitalism, that it liberated more people. And when we talk about theology and start taking it seriously and really reflecting on it, that's when the natural law theory came about. Now, I believe that God, as you say, Steve, is the progenitor of objective moral values and duties. But us discovering it through a particular passage, or how someone's limited understanding, as you know, the people who wrote the Bible were inspired. God did not dictate word for word. They were inspired. So he is working with these limitations that people have, but also working through the whole historical process. So I can still believe that objective moral values exist and they reside in God, but that slavery is objectively wrong. And I don't think that there's any problem with that. And I do agree with you on humility. Now, I've been talking so much. You can go ahead and talk, SJ.
Yeah, I just have one last question in regards to that. I mean, if you hold to the fact that God is the objective moral standard, would you say that you would hold a divine command theory? And if you do hold a divine command theory, do you not recognize that divine command theory is a form of ethical subjectivism in that case? Because it's contingent upon the mind of God? In which case, how is it objective?
Yeah, I believe God exists necessarily.
That would require.
I do believe in
you would have to demonstrate
I believe
that
God exists necessarily. That's what I believe.
But you believe that, but that has not been demonstrated, right? You agree there's no logical necessity to posit a deity.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're totally right. I haven't demonstrated that, and I do read Immanuel Kant, The Critique of Pure and Practical Reason, and David Hume, and Thomas Reid, and Common Sense Realism. I do study philosophy and have been for about 20 years, and would love to go into these issues. But I'm saying we need humility, and before we start condemning the Old Testament because of a particular interpretation that we have, or Richard Dawkins
we need honesty.
Celebrates in one of his books, I think we need to be mindful before celebrating that one particular interpretation. Maybe there's a whole historical context behind it.
Sure, but how does that answer my question?
We need honesty.
How does that answer my question about ethical subjectivism? If you're saying that, and it goes in the Euthyphro dilemma. I mean, if you want to, we're not going to get that deep into it right now. But I'm just asking you, how do you reconcile an objective moral framework with the fact that it's contingent upon the mind of God, which would fall under ethical subjectivism, which divine command theory actually does, right? So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a hard question. I understand that, but if people are going to be positing these types of things, then that's something to be considered. Would you agree?
Well, I don't really understand the objection. I believe God exists necessarily, if indeed God does exist. Now, I don't claim that the ontological argument is valid, so I would try to give arguments for that God exists as se, which means in Latin necessarily, that he is the only necessary existing thing. And that's how I approach that. So maybe we can get into that more, but I've talked enough. SJ.
SJ.
Can she hear?
SJ. Can you hear us?
Is it?
They're working on it. It looks like she is.
I don't know.
Can you hear us?
If she can hear us. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi. Can you do that? Hi. Can you? No,
well, this is a good wrapping. This is a good wrapping point, anyway.
You can't hear us.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't hear. Okay. All right. Frustrated Atheist, we'll let you wrap up your final thoughts, anything like that, and then we'll see if SJ maybe can get situated by then.
Okay. Well, I still have yet to see any kind of actual selection between atheism equating to communism, even the other topic that that Steve had said about the two or whatever. Also, I just want to say that as far as the second half about the slavery issue is that my only thought is that if you have a omni-everything God and he is where we get from, it should have been clear from the very get-go that slavery is wrong. And because he didn't specifically say that in the very beginning, hey, slavery is wrong, this is not even an argument to be made as far as the Christians go. Other than that, I really have not much else to say about this.
Okay, SJ.
Is there any way I could go on?
Oh, I think we've crossed that bridge, Joshua. I think we're at a point where we're trying to wrap up, and
yeah. We got a couple super chats, but we need to wrap up.
Yeah. So SJ, can you hear us?
I don't think she can.
Okay. Are there any super chats, Steve, that are for the SJ or Joshua? Because if not, we're going to cut them loose. Any questions that pertain particularly to them?
There's one question I can ask.
Okay.
Here.
Go ahead and ask that.
It is by the wonderful General Han Solo, Robert. We all love him, right? Let's see here. He says, wasn't Israel redeemed from slavery in Egypt? If so, and this is not super chat, but he wants me to ask this personally. So, if so, then were servants exclusively to God? Did their moral landscape result not only in opposition to or limitations of various forms of human servitude, but also carried over into the demands for humane treatment of the poor and destitute generally? So who were vulnerable to becoming slaves or otherwise suffering further abuse and exploitation? And I guess I'm reading into that question. He wants to know. Yeah. Well, no. Robert, I don't think it's a slavery apologist, but I think I'm trying to parse this question out. It's a very long, intricate question. So let's see here. Since they were servants exclusively to God, didn't their moral landscape result not only in opposition to or limitations of various forms of human servitude? So basically, where did they get the rules? I guess he's asking for morals, because obviously there was some carryover from other places of how we should treat people. I mean, even the rules were based upon many other cultures around during that time. But maybe you guys can parse this out. I've given it all I can. Sorry, Robert. I don't know how else to read that. You guys want to take a stab at it?
Can you guys hear me?
Is that for me or SJ?
I think it's for either
one of you.
Can you guys hear me?
I could hear you, SJ. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. I think yes. I wanted to bring up something that does have to do with, I think that this is, I only was able to hear part of that question, but I'm assuming it had to do with objective morality, and where did that all come from?
Possible. I honestly,
is that possible?
He can be in the after show, and I can ask him, but I don't really know where he's going with that right now, to be honest with you. And you're welcome.
Let me give you a study. There's a study by a guy called Kinnear, Kearns, and Douthrives, and it's from 2000, and it basically summarized a bunch of different religions. They looked at Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, humanism, atheism, and the United Nations. They looked at all of those different groups, and they identified some commonalities. And in every group, almost every group agreed that there is a commitment to something greater than oneself, that all humans sort of stand like that. We have this fight to seek truth and justice. Second one is that we have self-respect with humility, self-discipline, and the acceptance of personal responsibility. The third one is respect and caring for others, which is like the golden rule. And the fourth one is caring for other living things in the environment. So those are objective standards the entire human race basically endorses, no matter where you stand on the religious spectrum, or even being a person who's an atheist, a non-religious person. So the question is, we have these standards, where do they arise from, and who's the moral lawgiver? That's basically what I would say. I'd say the fact that the entire human race has these objective moral standards speaks to the fact that it transcends generations. It means that it must come from something that also transcends generations.
Okay. I don't see any other questions for you two. So if you guys want to take off, we can finish up, wrap it up. I'm going to have an after show, which you're more than welcome to join SJ, and we can maybe suss it out a little bit more. And you, Master Apologist, if you wish, that's fine as well. But I don't see any more questions for you guys. But we do have a lot of super chats, so we got to wrap this up because I got to get the.
Well, at this point, we usually say goodbye to, I guess, so that we can get through the super chats and read those off and cut up for a little bit. Steve will be having an after show. He'll send the links out to you guys, and I want to thank you both for coming into the lion's den, so to speak.
Thank you, both of you.
This was interesting.
I want to say thank you to Steve for that hilarious tweet that I saw.
Which one?
I just saw a hilarious. You said, I don't even want to repeat it, but it's very funny.
I think I know what you're thinking of. You're welcome.
But yeah, thank you both, and maybe we'll see you in the after show. But thanks for coming in the Lion's Den, and yeah, always good to see you again, SJ, and very nice to meet you, Master Apologist.
Yeah, likewise.
You
guys held in there. I'm impressed. Good job.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, let's get to Master Apologist.
Okay, the super chats. Yeah, that was some weird apologetics. When you make SJ look good, you might want to rethink your strategy. I mean, SJ's apologetics not the best, but I do. Really
I'm not gonna speak to them like with personal but I mean the reasons that he was giving were just ludicrous. I mean, it's just,
yeah, I agree.
They were absolutely insane.
Yeah. All right, double A, $2. Sounds very Orwellian, SJ. Pine Snake, £5. The rise of national happiness is in direct correlation to the fall of religiously held beliefs. There might be something to be said about that. I mean, when she did a, I don't know if you saw, but she did a post on something along the lines that Christianity makes one happy, but the study actually wasn't about Christianity, but religion in general, which included any religion, Buddhism, Jainism, even Satanism. So, and I think that, again, the correlation doesn't apply causation, such that in those particular studies, as I was kind of looking into them, which basically just means people that had a social aspect were generally happier. I don't think it was the religious aspect that made them happier. I think it was the fact that they were just more likely to be more sociable, and in those things that lead to happiness. But that's the way my take on it.
By the way, what tweet was she talking about?
Oh, I'll have to tell you. I'm going to tell you off air. Don't mind.
Frustrated Atheist, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
What kind of cereal are you eating? What kind of cereal are you eating?
Oh, I'm not eating any cereal. That's not coming from me.
That would be me, Kyle. Sorry.
Oh, what kind of cereal are you eating? I'm just curious because I'm craving some right now.
It's actually macaroni and cheese.
Oh, even better.
Yep.
I like my cereal.
Go ahead, Steve.
Double A, $2. SJ, work on that stutter when you vomit bullshit. I don't think SJ was that bad this time. I mean, I really think that she was trying to get on point. I think she was trying to make some kind of argumentation that was relating to her comments that she had made relating communism to atheism. And I think after clarification, I think maybe her and Frustrated Atheist maybe were just having a miscommunication of sorts. But it was good to suss that out, though. Athena, Goddess of Wisdom and Warfare, $2. Wow, fucking wow, my God, that is so.
That sums it up perfectly.
I like his tweets. Athena, Goddess of Wisdom. I like your tweets, your chat things. Wellington, it does, right? Wellington Smith, $5. God, quote, hey folks, stop slavery. Moses. Okay, Lord, whatever you say, boss. Moses then writes a way out of slavery. Easy. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Brown coat G, $10 Aussie. And again, the excuse is that the all-knowing, all-powerful eye in the sky just couldn't figure out how to get through to his own creation. Yep, seems legit. Yeah, I mean, there's this. It doesn't add up to me. It just doesn't. Brainerary